I got nothing too crazy to say for this intro, except to say, if you feel it, chase it! How's it going, guys? My name is Luke Ponto, and I love talking movies with you guys. So here we are back with another movie review, and today we are going to be talking about Twisters. This was my most anticipated film of summer 2024, and I'm ready to talk about it. This one was directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who brought you Minari from a couple years back, and stars the likes of Glen Powell, Daisy Edgar Jones, Anthony Ramos, David Corenswet, amongst others. And what is the film about? Well, I'll tell you. This movie follows a young woman named Kate Carter, played by Daisy Edgar Jones, who after a science experiment gone completely wrong from 5 years ago, is in New York doing weather stuff, until Javi, played by Anthony Ramos, drags her back into Oklahoma because of a lot of tornadoes going on, and she meets up with Tyler Owens, played here by Glen Powell, and his crew, and when storm season intensifies, they're in a fight for their lives to survive the tornadoes. So I saw this film last Thursday with my best friend Justin on preview night, I should specify. Yes, I did see this film preview night, and it was my most anticipated film of the summer, like I said before. Yes, I know, over Deadpool and Wolverine. I get it. Sound off in the comments. Now, let me just get the one negative I have out of the way first. I'm going to give my only negative I have with this film, and then I'm going to go straight into the positives, because I walked into this film very excited, but I wanted to keep my expectations very much so in the middle, because I didn't want to get too excited, otherwise I was going to walk out disappointed. But thankfully, I did not walk out disappointed with this film. I loved Twisters. It was such a blast from start to finish. But my only slight negative with this film was there were times that I was really starting to feel the film's runtime. Like, this film is clocking in at nearly 2 hours, and at a couple of moments I did start to feel it. I was like, pick up the pace here a little bit. But other than that negative, I love this movie. Great performances, especially from Daisy Edgar Jones, who is really proving herself to be a star on the rise after Where the Crawdads Sing and Fresh from a couple years ago. Both films I absolutely loved. Anthony Ramos as Javi is fantastic in the film. I mean, after In the Heights, Dumb Money, Transformers Rise of the Beast, The Bad Guys, I've been rooting for this guy. Seriously, I've really been rooting for this guy. Glen Powell continues his streak of likability with his movies after Top Gun Maverick, Devotion, and Anyone But You, and Hitman. Ever since Top Gun Maverick, I have been pulling for this dude. Saw him in Devotion, loved him in Devotion. Anyone But You, loved that film, and he was so likable in it. Same thing with Hitman. And this film, he might come off as a douchebag to some people in certain aspects, like when you first meet him. But then again, there's character growth throughout the film with his character, and I really liked what they did. And the beginning of this film really had me on the edge of my seat, especially, you see this first bit in the trailer, but I really loved with where they went with it, and it actually came off as pretty tragic. Like, when you really think about it and break it down in the grand scheme of things, it does come off pretty tragic in certain parts. Aside, also from the performances aside, the effects are fantastic. This film was on a $200 million budget, which shocked me. This film looked like it was at least made for about $100 million. But when I looked it up, it was made for $200 million, and I was like, dang, okay. Surprised me for sure. But the effects are fantastic. The tornadoes are just intense. And oh my god, even the fire tornado scene that you see in the trailer was also pretty intense to me. I mean, it looked like realistic tornadoes. Like, when you really break it down, it's pretty realistic, like when it comes to stuff that's been recently happening with tornadoes, floods, stuff like that. It seems pretty realistic. And I love the way this film represented it, especially with what Oklahoma was going through back in the time. And they did a really good job with it. The soundtrack as well, awesome. It's a lot of country-based songs, or there's a lot of country songs, not just country-based. Jesus. But I love the soundtrack, especially Luke Combs' Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. Banger song, by the way. But yeah, I love that song. The soundtrack is great. The musical score that they even have in certain aspects was really good. There's really not much complaints with it. And I know it's later in the review, but I did kind of want to give you guys my backstory on the original Twister. I first saw that film when I was like about 6 or 7 years old. My family showed it to me, and it scared the crap out of me. Especially with some of those tornadoes, flying cows. I did a watch along for that recently, and some of the effects don't hold up, but most of them do. And yeah, I still love that original film, still to this day. And I think this film is ever so slightly better than the original film. I pretty much loved every second of Twisters, minus some points where I thought the film was really dragging in certain parts. I do think it could have been trimmed down just a little bit. But other than that, I loved this film. If you guys have not seen it in theaters, please go see it before Deadpool comes out. It's coming out this week. But please, go give this film your support. It deserves it. And on my rating scale for Twisters, I'm going to give this film a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Please go see it. It's one of my favorite films of the year. And yeah, if you guys love the original Twister, this is very different when it comes to the grand scheme of things. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's different from the original Twister, with some similar tastes, similar elements, not tastes. God, I cannot talk. A lot of similar elements from the first film are in this film, but just done a little bit differently. And I like the way they did that. So, if you guys have seen Twisters, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.